Solo.
Solo or then chobu mona.
No, yeah. What does it mean?
Ask solo.
Okay, you said we don't know. Anyway, guys, welcome back from that. That was EL with Obumo. And back on the table, we're going to have a conversation. And this time we're talking about poetry. And, you know, it's one of the things, really exciting to see someone just be on there and just rattling everything to make meaning to us. And so this after we've got NANA FREDUA-AGYEMAN JNR, who is an award-winning poet. Joining us, we're talking about his words, we're getting to know him better, and everything that he's been working on. So, ladies and gentlemen, I'll show you a full welcome, bro. What's good?
Thank you very much.
Yenya. Be able to go there.
Yamiadum.
I will watch your fufu kakra.
Debut.
Yes, your phone to the fufu.
Me fasting.
Oh.
In fact, it's something I started about 3 years ago with our Muslim fraternity.
So you do with them?
So I do it with them, yes. For actually maybe spiritual, you can say, and also to the what's the word? Detox. Yeah, exactly.
Oh, okay,
Yeah.
that's good. And how has it been? I mean, how
It's
do
been fine.
people react when you tell them that you're fasting at this time?
Initially, it was a bit unusual, but people have come to those in my close circle. They've come to appreciate it, and to the extent that I remember about 2 years ago, I even went on to continue for about 2 months. So I did 3 months. Yeah.
Oh, okay.
I said car free. No, I car free. And I do 6 to 6. Yeah.
Wow.
And mine is interestingly, I don't wake up at
Don't
eat sometimes, but I drink water anyway. That's
Okay,
it, sure.
okay. But in between, you pray, get closer to your maker, have like personal times, or
Cosmic. I'm spiritual.
Oh, okay.
The maker is not anyone sitting on a chair. You get a
okay.
point. That's my
okay.
understanding as the cosmic, basically.
Okay.
Yeah.
But then
so I do that. Yeah, as you're saying.
do
Yeah,
that
I
at your quiet
My
time.
interaction with
Amazing.
That's good.
Reading about you, understand that you are a 3-time winner of Kofi Anyi whole spoken word category of the Ghana Association of Writers Literary Awards. 3 times. 2018, 2021, 2022.
Yes, sir.
Hey, congratulations.
Thank you.
What's it with you that gets you such honors?
I mean, I would say it's timing. I believe I submit my works at the right time.
Okay.
And also my works actually meet the favor of the board, if I may put it, and the voting board as well. Yeah, that's it. That's about it.
What's your work about? What do you talk about?
So basically, my work is about self-introspection, humanitarianism, hope, what's the word? Rhetorics that we've known growing up. So on learning things, and we have to learn so many things. There are so many things that we've learned growing up that have not augured well for us. So basically, it's the unending subject matter in humanity. That's my driving force, yes.
So what are some of the things that you think that we've all learned whilst growing up that we need to unlearn? That you put in your work? That's what
an example I gave right now, that the idea, the concept of God, right? Personally, God is not, someone sitting in a chair, you get as depicted in, what's the word, pop culture.
Okay.
You know, gray head, preferably or mostly a man, you understand? And so if God were to be both male and female, that would be controversial. You get the point I'm making. But I mean, as they say, it's a man's word. And so it's been skewed. It's about who is telling the story, usually. Who is telling the story. That's it. And who is also listening, who's at the listening end of the story and buying it into it. So basically, my concept of God is he's, what's the word, the spiritual. God can be anything, whether animate or inanimate. You just need to tap into the source. That's the most important thing. And mind you, we also create from light and darkness. You get it? So it's imperative to actually know that the source of your energy.
Wow.
Yes, and so as I think I read recently, I've forgotten the writer, but he said, when I do bad, I feel bad, and when I do good, I feel good, and that's my religion. I forgot, it escaped me.
Yeah, yes. But Nana, at what point in your life did this whole transition happen? Because your background, maybe you were raised in a Christian home, maybe one of the churches, it could be Catholic, Methodist, any of them. But then at what point in your life did the transition happen for you?
The transition happened during my university days, actually. Yeah, university days. But of course, clearly, I wasn't paying attention because I was still, hot-headed, bubbly, all over the place. If I put it, still bubbly. But I mean, in terms of having a compass and getting it right in terms of my spirituality and understanding my purpose. It began after my tertiary education, and I mean, as I say, life happens.
Yeah.
So many other things actually also opened the doors for me to have a deeper introspection into my purpose, because I was always coming to it like writing. I was always coming to it, even in the midst of doing other things, but they wouldn't let me sleep. Can you imagine, in the middle of the night, midnight, around 12 midnight, I'll wake up and take a pen, write, or type on my laptop. I'm always scribbling, always writing something. It's noises in my head, basically. So I had to organize the noises into, the noise into poetry, basically.
It was more like a chaos, but you had to put everything together.
But prior to that, anyway, I was introduced to poetry. It's important to note that I was introduced to poetry through hip-hop. Yes, through hip-hop, And I was given a 2-pack CD, Greatest Hits, and it was picture perfect. How Tupac rapped. If you listen to Tupac's rap, it's very picture perfect. And that's how come I was introduced to poetry. But because rap has the acronym, some people say it's rhythmic African poetry. Some also give it other meanings. However, of course, there were people doing it before Tupac. I mean, if I say people, I mean Africans. But because of our very reliant nature on foreign material, you get a point. I wish I was introduced to poetry and the arts by a Ghanaian poet. Even though my father was a writer, yes, I saw him write, but of course, the distance and what he was, but I was inspired by my father hugely as well.
I get that. Well, that's interesting too,
So before the song comes, sorry, the industry where you find yourself, like the poetry industry in Ghana, over the years, how would you say it has progressed, it has evolved over time?
It has actually evolved over time. It has evolved for the greater good, in the sense that it used to be quite redundant at a point. Before I entered poetry as a profession, took it professionally. I mean, the likes of Professor Atuke Okain, Professor Kofi Anyidoho, of whose award category I've won, and name them. The late Amata Edo. The list goes on and on and on and on. They used to have. They used to converge, power, Pan-African Writers Association and Ghana Association of Writers. They were very, very, strong. They were formidable, a formidable force. But over the years, and even during Independence Days, you remember you have Professor Tukwe Okain and the likes recite logarithms and all that. Yes, and others, be invited to state functions. But at a point, it became redundant. It was relegated to the bottom. What's the question? Now, beyond the question, what happened? It's about branding. I believe everything is about branding. It's about how you sell it. If you sell yourself, in a very, affluent way or extravagant way, people will buy you that and even more. If you sell yourself cheap, they actually even, ask for, they'll bargain. So it's about the branding. I believe the Poetry Society and the Poetry Fraternity needs branding, like proper branding. You get a point. Because why I keep asking myself, poetry, hip-hop is actually from poetry. So if poetry is a syrup, it's like taking a little bit of the syrup and diluting it. That's when you get all these other art forms. Rap, name it, singing. Because poetry is the bedrock of every art form. Movies, the dialogue is poetry. Adverts, poetry. What we are having, conversation, is poetry. So you get it. Poetry is a seed that bears it all. So it's very imperative. Why is the art form, the fundamental art form itself, not affluent and attractive, and not making the what's the word? What it ought to make? It's about branding.
But like you're
it's
saying,
about branding. I believe.
Maybe at a point in time, the market wasn't really for that. Even though in the beginning, like most of our spoken words and everything, people appreciated it. But I'm guessing at a point in time, maybe it fell short or some way, somehow. That's what I'm thinking. But then now, because everything has evolved, and you keep mentioning hip-hop, it's not our culture. So sometimes you don't really get to understand or appreciate the things that are being said in it in order for you to deduce it and make it sound like poetry. So I'm thinking that maybe people were not really getting that, but now yourself, others are making it more interesting, more fun, and people get to love it. That's how it's...
anyway, but let's talk about it. Hip-hop is actually fundamentally our culture. If you go back. It's Africa.
No.
It's very debated. I mean,
Yeah.
extended debate. It started in the Bronx. I mean, in
Exactly,
America.
the
But
Chicago's and
who are the people who started it?
the blacks.
Exactly. Who are the people? And where are they from?
Okay.
Africa.
Africa. Not specifically Ghana.
Okay, I'm not going to
Yes.
go with this.
So
but-
the DNA of hip hop is
Yeah.
embedded in Africa.
Yeah,
It's rooted-
in blacks.
Yes.
Okay.
Exactly.
Okay.
That's it. Simple. That's all.
So you dropped an album.
Yes. Yes.
That's Ponder.
Ponda is my first album,
Yes,
actually.
your first
Album, Ponda. Well, it was released in 2021. Yes, and that
I
gained
understand.
me. Yeah.
Got considered for the Grammys.
Yes. I actually got considered for Grammys.
Wow.
Yes, nomination. Yes. So this is what happened. I mean, this is what happened. Again, since the art form is a niche. I mean, what's the word? Category, right? Spoken word poetry is a niche form of art. If I'm putting, it's not as popular as it used to be back in the day when we had a griot from West Africa. You know, every king had a griot and every griot had a king.
Yeah.
You understand? Anyway, we'll come to that. And so, and so don't worry, I'll break it down. So basically, since 1959, right? The Grammys, Recording Academy, they've had a spoken word album since 1959, but that encapsulated what's the word? Audiobooks, narrations, documentaries, audiobooks. I've mentioned that already, right? And poetry itself.
Yeah.
So it was saturated. The category was saturated. So the poets made a case over the years, and even we've had about 3 American presidents win that award because, with all due respect to audiobooks, if somebody writes a book and they record their audio, it is not. There's nothing exceptional just for the audio. You get a point. Yeah. The creativity is in the writing itself, but recording it is just an alternative for those who don't want to read, to listen to it. But poetry is a different art form which encapsulates all the literary devices, you understand, to make the beautiful art form that we have, you know, name them, the oxymorons, the metaphors, similes, yes, and whatnot. Yes. So basically, we made a case. The poets made a case to the Recording Academy. We petitioned that spoken word poetry should be separated from that category because the poets are lost in there, and it's not meaningful for us. So they heeded to it, and it was spearheaded by JIV. If you remember JIV, Kanye West's first album, College Dropout, right?
Yeah.
College Dropout.
I'm not a kind of person.
Okay.
That's the first.
You remember College Dropout?
Yes.
In 2005. 4. It was four.
4.
But he won the award for Best Rapper in 2005.
Yeah.
On that album, he featured JIV, a spoken word poet, an artist, on Never Let Me Down, featuring Jay-Z. And so JIV made a case for us, the poets, because he was the president of the Chicago chapter.
Yeah.
Okay.
And so they heeded to it and they created a category, Best Spoken Word Poetry. And they threw it out there that any spoken word artist or poet who had released an album within the last 5 years. This was 2020.
Okay.
2022.
Okay.
And I had released Ponda in 2021.
2021.
So I quickly reached out to him, and coincidentally, I just followed him on Instagram.
Oh,
yeah, I was following his works, but I had followed him on Instagram, and I saw it on his status. So I quickly asked him, how do I submit my work? I have an album out there. And he said I should send it to this link. He gave me the directive, yeah. And I sent it to him, because you cannot send your album directly. With the Grammys, it doesn't work that way. You need to be, your works needs to be submitted by a member of the,
be
yes,
considered
exactly.
by a member. And the whole
It's a peer review thing. That's it. Yeah. So basically, I sent it to him, and that was it. So amongst the 81 entries that year, Honda was part of the 81 entries that year, which was reduced to 5, and I didn't make the 5, but yeah. So my album was considered.
Yeah, that's a very good effort there. Yeah. So, moving on, 2024. I mean, you dropped another album.
Yes.
And moving in, what's the plan really? You know, more reach outs. Tell us about it.
Yeah. So I've released a new album titled Wonder. This album actually was released on the 25th of December 2023. It's sonically advanced than Ponda, in the sense that Ponda was quite, hardcore spoken word. Yeah, you get it, hardcore spoken word. But this one, with Wonder, I experiment with other genres. Of course, my fundamental genre, hip hop. If I put it, so I have hip hop in there. And last year was 50th anniversary of hip hop. You get it. So I also added hip hop. So I have about 4 records which I fuse spoken word and hip hop, and I have high life as well. I fused spoken word and high life. I featured Davidonto.
Okay.
The indefatigable Davidonto, veteran actor on the album.
Yeah.
On Sense for Sale, I featured T. Monterisi, and a multidisciplinary UK artist on Hodgepodge, and I featured Yao Stone winner of TV3 Mentor
Oh,
6.
yeah, the guy who does the playing and the
yes,
leg,
with this, plays the triple instruments. Yeah, I featured him on Never Give Up. Okay. Yes, and Nana Kwame says up on Soul Man of YFM on the outro.
Nokus.
Yes, Nokus. So this album is you get me.
Okay, then this one is good.
It's doing wonders.
Yeah. I think
Yeah.
Wonder sounds like a wonderful project.
It is. It's
that we all
exciting.
need to go check out. So we're still talking to NANA FREDUA-AGYEMAN JNR, and we're talking about his poetry work. Charlie, the way they talk and the conversation they go, say, nah, he no be here. He's far gone in that aspect. So now, as we wrap up on the conversation, anything you want to share with viewers about poetry, about the mindset to this thing that yourself and the other people do, and any other plans coming up?
And so basically, again, poetry. It was about the outlook. Poetry is for everybody, right? As I mentioned earlier, poetry is the art form that's, best it all. So everybody's invited. Everyone is a poet. Once you have something to say, you have your own story. Everybody has a book. I remember Mr. Kwesi Janapintin, and Kwesi Janapintin mentioned sometime that everybody's a writer. I said, how? I didn't understand. He said, yes, your story is your book. Once you put your story in writing, that's it. You have a book. So basically, I'm encouraging everyone to write more, write their own truth. You understand? You don't need to write anything. You can be imaginative, but it will actually sell if it's your truth, it's your reality. Yeah, basically that's it. And I also have new videos coming out from this work Wonder and some other initiatives.
Okay. All right,
my birthday is around the corner, so I'm thinking of releasing my first
anthology.
Right. Yes.
All right. So thank you very much, Nana, for coming through this.
Won't you let me do something small for you? You don't want to hear
some
poetic vibes.
You give us the Wonder experience. Let's go.
Let me just give you something from Wonder, right?
Okay.
That's solemn rhetoric. What I am, what you are, what we've been and seen, is it rational to you as a human being? Let's have a genuine discourse without creating a scene. To begin with, let us put our distractions aside, the anxiety, unknown, and the technology alike, the perception, biases from and of the people we like. On your mark, get set. I hope you tighten your spike. Unwax your ear, lighten up and open your mind. What you seek, look within, and there you find.
Wow.
Brace yourself, trace your...
Nice.
On your mark, get set,
Nice.
do your spike.
Go.
I got that. Thank you much, Nana, for coming through.
Right.
And let's go out there and support him on all platforms.
Yes, it's on all the streaming platforms.
Yeah, all the streaming platforms. Wonder by NANA FREDUA-AGYEMAN JNR.